The black community was stronger, it seems, during the issues of segregation when you had families that were
Give me a
intact with
freaking break. He would take back to segregation. We were stronger during segregation. I'm going to quote Martin Luther King Jr., who was asked in a Playboy interview decades ago, would you please define integration? And here is, and I'm paraphrasing, integration is the sharing of power, resources, and responsibility. What you integrate is power. What you segregate is power. Segregation is a legal term. Separation is a social term. Now, this is not difficult to understand. Segregation is a legal term. What did they segregate? Power, resources, and responsibility. Now, that was part of a interview. Playboy magazine used to do these amazing interviews, if you could get past the centerfold. But they would interview all kinds of prominent people, and they were well known. But this is what he said. And to hear Allen West say, oh, we were better off during the times of segregation. How can you be better off if somebody won't share power? How can you be better off if somebody won't share resources? How can you be better off if somebody hogs the responsibility of disseminating power and resources? It wasn't, they didn't separate kids from in school because they were afraid black kids would marry white kids. What they segregated was the power, the resources. So the black kids got hand-me-down books. The black schools didn't have a gymnasium. The black principal had more children in the school than the white principal did and got paid less. The black school didn't have a library. And when it came time to desegregate by law, why did they raise hell? Because now they get to have the same freaking resources that we have, which takes away our advantage. When you segregate power, when you segregate resources, when you segregate the responsibility of distributing that power and resources, you have power, and it creates an inequitable situation. Why do you think athletes, black, white, or otherwise, excel on the athletic field? Because the field is level, the same freaking rules apply to everybody, and there's a bunch of guys running around in striped shirts that make sure that the rules apply. That's the same thing with anything. No, we're not going to allow black folk in schools because, look, we're not going to teach slaves to read. Let me go back. I can work my way forward. We're not going to teach slaves to read. Look, do me a favor. Go see the movie, Birth of a Nation, The Rebellion of Nat Turner. Go see that movie. When did Nat Turner become dangerous? When he learned to read. And then he became really dangerous when he learned to think for himself. Then he became exceptionally dangerous when he decided to cause a slave rebellion. And then you've got a black man that suggests we ought to go back to the days of segregation. You couldn't even piss in the same restroom as a white person. You couldn't even eat at the same lunch counter as a white person. You couldn't go to school with them. You couldn't work with them. You couldn't buy a house